The real reason why Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck divorced aren't everyone thinks they know the story of Bennifer 2.0's dramatic end. We've all seen the tabloid headlines and heard the whispers from insiders fueling a narrative of scandal and betrayal. The end of their marriage has been painted as a Hollywood tragedy, packed with shocking secrets, bitter feuds, and a love that was just too explosive to last. But what if that story, the one everyone is telling, is just a carefully constructed fantasy? What if the truth is something far less scandalous but way more revealing? The insiders claiming to have the scoop missed the biggest secret of all. There was no grand secret. The real story, buried under rumors about $68 million mansions and ex-wife drama, isn't the soap opera everyone imagined. It's a story about what happens when a myth collides with reality, and we're here to expose what truly pulled them apart. The thesis: deconstructing the Bennifer myth. While the world wanted a dramatic implosion, the actual reason Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez's marriage ended is a story of ordinary human problems getting crushed under the weight of an extraordinary public narrative. It wasn't one big catastrophic event, but a slow burn caused by two people who just exist in the world in fundamentally different ways. Ben Affleck himself said there was no scandal, no soap opera, no intrigue behind the split. The real fiction is the story of a scandalous collapse. The truth is found in the quiet, everyday differences that became impossible to manage under the relentless pressure of fame. We're going to break down the pillars of the tabloid narrative, the anniversary filing, the mansion feud, the ex-wife drama, and the documentary disaster, and show you how each one crumbles when you look at the facts. The real story isn't a scandal, it's a much more relatable and maybe more tragic story of two people who learned that even the greatest love stories can't always survive the real world. The anniversary bombshell that wasn't. One of the juiciest details of the Bennifer divorce was the timing. Tabloids screamed that Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce on August 20th, 2024. The exact 2-year anniversary of their lavish Georgia wedding. It was framed as a cold, calculated move, a symbolic gesture to signal the fairy tale was over, supposedly orchestrated by Lopez herself. Stories even claimed she filed the papers pro per without a lawyer to show she was in total control. This one detail fueled the narrative of J.Lo the schemer, painting her as a woman directing the end of her own marriage for maximum drama. But here's the truth that got lost in the shuffle. It was mostly a fabrication of timing. While the filing did happen on that date, it wasn't a sudden bombshell. The couple's official date of separation was listed as months earlier, on April 26, 2024. This wasn't a spontaneous anniversary power play. It was the final step in a separation that had been underway for nearly 4 months. The divorce itself wouldn't be finalized until January 2025. There's just no credible evidence that the anniversary date was a deliberate move by Lopez. Instead, it looks like a coincidence that the media seized on for a better story. The reality wasn't a masterclass in public relations, but the much more boring legal process of ending a marriage that had already been over for months. At the heart of the divorce drama was supposedly a sprawling $68 million Beverly Hills mansion. Bought in May 2023, this massive estate was meant to be the symbol of their blended family and second-chance romance. With 12 bedrooms, 24 bathrooms, and a sports complex, it was their fortress of love. So when news broke that they were selling it just over a year later, the story wrote itself. The dream home had become a battleground. Insiders claimed a bitter fight was raging. Jennifer, the smart businesswoman, wanted to wait for a top-dollar offer. Ben, desperate to escape, just wanted a quick sale. The mansion became a symbol of their conflict, huge, flashy, and ultimately unsellable. Headlines painted a beleaguered and dramatic picture, with a price slash of over $8 million seen as a sign of desperation. But again, the scandalous story is a far cry from reality. While the couple did list their home in the summer of 2024 and struggled to sell it, there's no real evidence of a bitter fight. In fact, sources close to them clarified that the decision to eventually take the house off the market in July 2025 was a joint one, a business decision that they made together. The enemy wasn't each other. It was a rough seller's market, especially for a home in that price range. Taking it off the market wasn't an emotional defeat, but a smart and strategic move. The $68 million feud was really just a practical business choice in a tough market. Both have since bought their own multi-million-dollar homes, moving on with the quiet logistics of wealthy individuals dismantling a shared life. The lingering shadow of an ex? No celebrity divorce is complete without bringing up an old flame. and for Ben, that role was eagerly given to Jennifer Garner. The media created a compelling but totally unsubstantiated psychodrama. Ben, looking stressed in paparazzi shots, was painted as a man still tangled up in his old life. His close co-parenting relationship with Garner wasn't seen as healthy, but as a source of constant tension for Lopez. The narrative suggested Lopez could never compete with the grounding influence of the mother of Ben's children. This theory claimed Affleck never truly got over Garner and that his attachment was a constant problem in his new marriage. Every school event they attended together was scrutinized, and every somber look on his face was interpreted as him longing for the past. Anonymous insiders supposedly confirmed this, casting Lopez as the diva and Garner as the patient saint. But like the other myths, this one falls apart under scrutiny. There's zero credible, on-the-record evidence that Garner was a major factor in the divorce. In a March 2025 interview, Affleck praised Garner, not as a romantic rival, but as a co-parent. He said, "I'm really lucky that I have a really good co-parent and partner in Jennifer Garner, the kid's mom, who's wonderful and great, and we work together well." That's the talk of a functional, respectful partnership, not a man torn between two loves. The lingering shadow seems to be a complete media invention to create easy heroes and villains. The reality was much more ordinary, a man navigating the complexities of a blended family. The Diddy factor and J.Lo's exes. Is Diddy still in the picture? Now let's get into the part of this story that almost nobody wants to touch publicly, the X factor. Because when it comes to Jennifer Lopez, there's always been one name that never seems to fade completely into the background: Sean Diddy Combs. Remember, J.Lo and Diddy's relationship back in the late 90s was the stuff of tabloid legend. They were Hollywood's ultimate power couple, until that infamous nightclub incident that landed Diddy in handcuffs and left Lopez running for the exit. She distanced herself from him publicly, but behind the scenes, insiders claim their connection never fully disappeared. Now here's what nobody's talking about. While Bennifer 2.0 was supposed to be Jennifer's happily ever after, whispers from sources close to the couple suggest that Affleck was never completely comfortable with how often Diddy's name popped back into the conversation. Whether it was Lopez being linked to him in retrospectives, or subtle mentions in interviews, the shadow of that high-profile romance loomed larger than most people realized. And it wasn't just Diddy. Lopez's long list of famous exes, Mark Anthony, Casper Smart, Alex Rodriguez, was a constant backdrop to their marriage. Insiders reveal that Ben, who already struggled with the glare of the spotlight, often felt like he was competing with ghosts of the past. Every time an old photo resurfaced, every time a documentary brought up her history, it reminded him that Jennifer Lopez wasn't just his Jennifer. She was the Jennifer Lopez, a woman whose love life had been played out on the world stage for decades. One source even claimed Affleck felt like he could never truly measure up, not because Lopez still had feelings for her exes, but because her past was practically a character in their marriage. And when it came to Diddy, the situation was even more complicated, especially as new controversies surrounding him started grabbing headlines again in 2024 and 2025. Imagine trying to build a quiet, stable life, while your partner's history with one of the most controversial figures in music keeps circling back into the news cycle. For Affleck, it was another reminder that no matter how much he loved Lopez, her world would always be bigger, louder, and messier than the kind of life he craved. But that's not even the worst part, because the way Lopez embraced her fame, while Affleck fought to escape it, ended up being the ultimate breaking point: the fame game versus the private man. If there's one area where the public narrative actually hits on a real truth, it's the massive difference in how Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck handle fame. This wasn't just a small disagreement, it was a fundamental clash between two people with opposite needs for privacy and public life. Jennifer Lopez is a superstar who has expertly managed her public image for decades. She's comfortable in the spotlight, and that was crystal clear with her 2024 documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. The film, which detailed their romance, was a deeply personal project for her, even including Affleck's private love letters. For Lopez, sharing her life is an authentic part of who she is as an artist. For Affleck, it was a completely different story. He admitted in the documentary his deep discomfort with that level of exposure. When they got back together, he told her, "Listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media." While he participated in the film, it was a reluctant compromise. As he famously put it, "You don't marry a ship captain and then say, 'Well, I don't like going out in the water.'" In a March 2025 interview, Affleck was direct. "My temperament is to be a little bit more reserved and private than hers. As happens in relationships, you don't always have the same attitude toward these things.
Crucially, he insisted this wasn't the cause of some major fracture. It wasn't one big fight over a documentary. It was a constant grinding difference. Every grim-faced red carpet photo was likely not about a specific argument, but his general discomfort with the fame machine that Lopez commands. He was a reluctant participant in a world where she is queen. This wasn't a battle of right versus wrong, but a collision of two different natures. He craved a quiet life, while she thrived in the public eye. Over time, that difference became a source of daily friction, proving that you can love someone deeply, but still be incompatible with the life they lead. In the end, the real reason for the divorce isn't buried in some scandalous secret. It's in Ben Affleck's own words. He insisted the breakup was far more quotidian or ordinary than people think. He told reporters directly, "There's no scandal, no soap opera, no intrigue." He even said if he described what really happened, people's eyes would glaze over with boredom. The truth, which the gossip industry worked so hard to hide, is that their epic love story ended for the same reasons countless normal relationships do. It was irreconcilable differences, just as the court documents stated. These weren't huge betrayals, but fundamental incompatibilities in lifestyle and personality that just became too big to ignore. The dream of Bennifer was powerful, but the myth couldn't survive the reality of two very different people trying to live under an unimaginable spotlight. They weren't torn apart by a mansion feud, the ghost of an ex, or a documentary. They were worn down by the day-to-day reality of their opposing natures. The real story isn't the one the tabloids are selling. The real story is that sometimes, even with all the love in the world, people just grow apart. What do you think? Was Bennifer 2.0 always doomed because of their differences, or could they have made it work? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more celebrity stories that cut through the noise, make sure to like and subscribe.